having some guys maybe with some 1-year deals. 1-year deals. I mean, it is free
And
agency.
it's what it is.
Call
Don't
it like that.
That's a Freudian slip, but that's true. It's the most wonderful time of the year. No, not Christmas time, as I like to think of it. And I do apologize to the viewers right now. I have not gotten my lights up, even though in this angle you can't really see it, but on our other shows and after the recording, when those of you that stay can see it, I have like a Christmas Santa, an Auburn Santa thing, and all this kind of stuff I'm gonna put up. It is transfer portal season, probably by the time you are listening to this. If you watch the live recording, it hasn't arrived yet, but the transfer portal officially is open tomorrow. Has it lost it? I know. Has it lost its allure for you at this point?
Oh no, I think it's fantastic. It's like we go straight from. Now, is it absurd and has it gotten way out of hand? Absolutely. But the transfer portal, it's like the perfect. If you're not in it for the conference championship and you're not in it for the playoff or whatever,
right?
And you have, and the situation Auburn's in where you're still looking to revamp your roster, the portal is like, it's like the perfect segue into the offseason. The offseason that really never happens because of it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's already absolutely ridiculous. It's going to be more and more ridiculous every year until somehow there gets a strangle on this thing. But it's crazy to me that it officially opens tomorrow. Yet we've had a whole week of people basically being in it because they're just saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to enter it when it hits." And it's like we've already got coaches making visits. The rules are just the paint on the field. It's like, well, we could paint this line here, but people are going to cross it, so we might as well paint it over here. I mean, it is an absolute free
kind of like a selection committee's rules, right? They just change them.
We're going to hit every segment with it. But I think it's nuts, but I love it. Like, I love keeping up with it. I think it is just absolute chaos, in a good and bad way.
I like it. For me, I prefer the old-fashioned way of recruiting from high school and building up depth and continuity. Transfers in any regard, even before the portal, I always viewed as band-aids that sometimes, if peeled off too quickly, reveal open wounds that haven't healed yet. Now, if you can swing a really good transfer portal situation every single year and make that work for you and make that your bread and butter, more power to you. I think Auburn was in a must utilize the transfer portal at all costs last year. And I think with the season behind us in the first year of Hugh Freeze, you saw why. Need a lot of help. And even that wasn't enough in some areas holistically. We had improvements, I think, across the board, still needed plenty more. So the question becomes, Austin, about the transfer portal about to open up, how involved will Auburn be? And when I ask that, not just, we know they're going to be putting their feelers out there. If people are talking to them, you do that just because that's a smart practice. But will Auburn be picking up a lot of transfers in the transfer portal season? What are your thoughts? Any numbers, any ideas come to mind?
Yeah. I mean, I think it I agree with you that it can't, I don't think you can, for lack of a better term, I'll just say it, I don't think you can on the transfer portal every year and take out the whole roster and I don't think that's a successful way,
right?
To build a college football program. I think there has to be some kind of marriage between the high school recruiting and the transfer portal for you to be long-term successful. And thankfully, to put an Auburn spin on, I think Hugh Freeze and this staff understand that. But through the transfer portal, you can also, like you said, kind of help some immediate needs in certain places. Let's remember that a lot of these guys are transferring. Why are they transferring? Maybe they're not getting the playing time they wanted. Why aren't they getting the playing time they wanted? Mm-hmm. And so I think there's there's different ways to look at each part of it. With Auburn, I think that probably going to be active, like you said, and have feelers. And if you can upgrade in certain areas, I think you should. And I think you have to look at that as how many guys are we losing to the portal itself for us, and then also the draft or graduation. How many guys are we bringing in that are freshmen? Can they play right away? And you look at the different numbers of where that is.
Yep.
I think the big one everyone's going to want to talk about, and it's already been just hot and heavy, is quarterback. And I think with Auburn, you like what you have in Peyton Thorne. We saw pretty good progress. That's probably going to be a place where if they can upgrade, they will. And I mean, you got to fit. It's got to be a good fit on each side now, right?
Right.
With NIL, with these players having a lot more autonomy and more power to go where they want for what they want, is all going to be what's the perfect match.
Right.
Regardless, I think a big pro of the transfer portal is just competition. You know, it didn't really work out the way it was hoping for Auburn, but Brian Harsin brought in TJ Finley and Robbie Ashford for competition. We didn't know who out of that group was going to end up starting. But I think with yes. and there's an example of the success of the transfer portal, right? Like, it wasn't just because of playing time for Bo. It was wanting to be developed, wanting to get ready for the next level, wanting from a personal standpoint to try something new,
to be protected
on and off the field. And so
took that different angle.
that for Auburn, it'll be interesting to see which way they go. I think this staff is not going to all out blitz the transfer portal for everything they want or for everything they think they need. It's going to have to be the right, for lack of a better term, for the right price and for the right match for Auburn. I don't think this is just going to be a desperate heave into every single person that jumps in. And I don't think it should be. I think that's the right way to go about it. And the recruiting in the high school level is going swimmingly for Auburn, as we've already touched in Potpourri. And so I have no about how the staff is handling recruiting in high school and transfer portal. I'm glad they're active and dipping their toes in the portal and different people that come in. And I mean, I trust them to do the right thing with it.
Yeah, look, everybody's focused on quarterback because it's the big ticket position. There's a reason there's a lot of emphasis put on that. You can see the difference in a well quarterback team and a non-well quarterback team. And I'm not even saying that Auburn is or isn't. I think Peyton Thorne, much like Hugh Freeze, was given a very tall task to work with, given how quickly or how little time he had to get ready. Was he a perfect quarterback this year? Heck no. But there is a lot of, it became evident why he was chosen to be the starter as the season came along, what he's capable of. Now, the question is he the guy going forward? And do you trust that and forego a transfer portal quarterback? The love affair of Grayson McCall continues from Coastal Carolina. Listen, if he comes here, I'll eat my own words, but I wish people would give that up. I don't mean that in ill will during anybody. I'm so tired of hearing his name at this point.
Yeah.
But at the same token, like you said, it's got to be a good fit. And just because the transfer quarterback comes in doesn't mean he's the guaranteed starter. He's got to beat Peyton Thorne out, who's got more time with him in this offense, in this system. And frankly, I don't want a two-quarterback system anymore right now. No. We've seen enough of that. So if there's the right fit, right time, it sounds from what I heard that Peyton Thorne is kind of wanting to stick it out here, is not looking to leave. Even if maybe there was a quarterback situation brought in, I don't know that for a fact. That's just speculation. We'll see. I just would not put all of your hopes and dreams and beliefs in a transfer quarterback at this point. I think it's probably going to be a little bit of offensive lineman, probably, because we're going to be losing quite a few transfer offensive linemen. Do you think that's a fair?
Yeah, I mean, I think look at offensive lineman and transfer portal is, for those that are Major League Baseball fans, is at the trade deadline, everybody wants pitching help. Everybody wants relief pitching.
It's a good one.
Doesn't know how good you are. It doesn't matter how bad you are. You cannot have enough relief pitchers. I think that's the way it is with offensive linemen. You can never have enough guys that can sub in, sub out and build the trenches for you. So I think with the offers that have gone out for this year in the transfer portal, that's where it started for Auburn. And those guys are at a high priority across the country. So I don't think you'll see, a lack of interest there. I think you'll probably see a lack of interest on the other side on the defensive, or a lack of interest, not a lack of interest on the other side on the defensive line as well.
Yep.
Same type thing. Everybody wants that. Everybody's going to be looking for that. I personally, and I'm not saying this because of the guys we have or the talent coming in or anything like that, I think you still need to look at the receiver room as some help in the transfer portal. I don't think it's a good idea to just say, look at all these freshmen we got coming in. I mean, we're going to be stuck. I mean, look, they're going to be 18 years old and still freshmen. And that's not always the best thing. Just throw them in there. I think having some guys maybe with some one-year deals. I mean, it is free agency.
It's what it is. Don't
call it like that.
That's a Freudian slip, but that's true.
1 year of eligibility left would probably serve this team some experience, and some guys who are looking to maybe get on a bigger level playing field. But yeah, I mean, I think in all areas, Auburn's going to be pretty interested, but probably those the most.
I look at this transfer portal season as Auburn's not going to be stupid. They're going to go after positions of need, But I think this may be a year where you see less of the, that guy's coming, he's going to be an instant starter, which, is a quick judgment to jump to. But last year it was easy for Auburn, given what they had to kind of fix or get started in the right direction. I loved your analogy of the baseball at the trade deadline, going after the pitching. Offensive lineman, defensive lineman, you got to have depth there. And we lacked, especially on defensive line in some regard. At least that's what it seemed like this year a little bit. So I think that's going to happen. It wouldn't shock me, again, just pure speculation, seeing who we're about to lose. I mean, this was going to be covered in potpourri if we had time, but we're about to lose a bunch of upperclassmen leadership in the defensive back group. DJ James, Nehemiah Pritchett, Jalen Simpson, Keontae Scott, and I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out there. We got great talent coming up with that.
Zion Puckett. Yeah.
Zion Puckett. We have got to probably find a piece or two that is ready to start right away that can plug in there and bridge the gap to all that young talent that we brought in last year at the defensive back room and will continue to bring in. So for me, that would be an area that I would look to and say, maybe we find, everybody looks for their centerpiece of their recruiting class, of their transfer portal. Oftentimes it's the quarterback, and that'll probably be the focus for everybody this year. But if you look at that defensive back room, it wouldn't shock me in the least if we somehow found a way to find somebody that's like, oh, wow, that was the big get of the transfer portal season, at least to get us over the hump at the defensive back room.
Yeah.
So a lot of different angles, and there's going to be plenty of discussion about that. Maybe by the time you've watched or listened to this, there's already news about Auburn taking someone or not taking someone. Plenty to discuss coming up in the future, because the transfer portal, basically, it never closes at this point. And it's just
never.
It's hard to keep track of it sometimes.